Dang, I need some hydration before I do this part 3 of my Honda Civic review. Whatever drink could possibly quench my thirst?
Oh, snap, crackle, and pop. Whatever is this?
Ghost. Energy. Oh, that's good. On to the show.
The front splitter on my car has been holding up pretty well. Held up pretty good the last 2 years. And of course I had to have these little bracers on to keep it stabilized, and these held up pretty good. Here's a side fender vent. It's held up pretty good. You know, no signs, sun, destroying the clear coat. It's been holding up pretty good. Carbon fiber mirror cap's been holding up pretty well. I got a little bit of a scratch right here, but that was on me. So these are the window vents, and these are the in-channel ones, which means these actually go up inside of where your window rolls up into. It's not how some people have it, put on the outside. I mean, it definitely has a nice flow to it. The only issue that I have with them is, yes, it's held by adhesive. But what ends up happening is during the initial kind of set-in process, you got to keep your windows up. So when you're rolling up your window, it kind of is able to stretch out the material a little bit. But even though it's held on by that 3M tape, right here, it's still a little loosey-goosey. And sometimes too, the window can actually get a little scuffed up from that friction of when it's rolling up and it's hitting the inside of this a little bit. But so far, it's held up pretty good, and I got it because I liked how flowing it was compared to the traditional setup, where it's mounted on the outside. So you have less chance of this stuff ripping off. But the same token too, if it does crack or break, it's going to be a little bit more of an effort to replace it. But other than that, it's been holding up pretty good. Side window, the Louvers, it actually look pretty cool. It held up okay, but the gloss that it did have in it did start to fade from sun exposure. So these will probably have to get repainted sometime in the future. This has been the most sturdy. I think I maybe paid $10-15 for this. You can cut it to whatever size you need, and it's held up pretty good so far. Alright, side skirt. These have held up pretty good as far as it's understable, but again, because it has a matte finish, you're gonna have to make sure during different seasons you gloss coat over it with like wax or whatever. Just keep that thing looking nice, because it will start to dry out. They've held up decently, but same thing with the matte setup. They tend to stain. You gotta keep them. You gotta put some sort of like wax dressing on there just to keep it smooth, or just to keep the coat looking nice. Duckbill spoiler. So this has held up really well. Initially, I did get this matte, but I ended up getting painted by MRT Performance out in Plymouth, Michigan. I was driving on the freeways prior to get painted, and it just started taking a bunch of just chips and denting it up. So it started looking really ugly. So I decided to just go ahead and get it painted, and it's held out really well. I've had this for like 2 years, no issues at all. The bracer, these right here. So I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. They actually keep this stable. Right here, I've had to replace those washers. This is being the third time I had to do it, but the first 2 times, and it's on me, but you got to make sure you use a stainless steel washer. If not, if you get the traditional steel or zinc plated washers, you get any type of moisture on it, they will rust, and it'll start bubbling up the paint, and you're gonna start having rust problems. So learn from this guy. Here's the rear badge I swapped out. It's held up good, but I will say it has stained. Started to yellow around the clear part, and that's just from sun exposure over a period of time. Pretty well. These are gloss, however, because of the constant sun exposure, they have dulled out. And again, we get these
You got to make sure you keep them waxed up, or else again they'll start getting dull.